But as he said to me, he said, Mo, at the time I didn't have no power and I didn't have no money. So when Oprah said she wanted it, so who played the lead role in The Butler? Oprah Winfrey.
That was Monique talking about all that she had to suffer at the hands of some of Hollywood's greats, an accusation that has divided many fans, causing a raging debate on social media. Curiously, the grapevine has it that podcast host Joe Rogan has apparently thrown his weight behind Monique, which has sent shockwaves throughout the entertainment industry. So what did Joe Rogan say? How is it affecting the entertainment industry and the powers that be? Stay tuned, I'll tell you all about it. Fans of Monique are buzzing with excitement as their favorite comedian is touring with Katt Williams and selling out shows. However, their excitement reached a fever pitch when gossip making rounds on the internet suggested that Joe Rogan was allegedly backing her. Many of her fans think that this move is a testament that their idol had been telling the truth all along. It all started when the podcast host decided to invite Katt Williams to his podcast after his interview on the Club Shay Shay. According to Rogan, he loved Katt Williams and wanted to have him on his show, probably to expose all the ills going on in the entertainment industry.
I always loved Katt.
I love Katt.
So I don't know.
He did that interview. He said I wouldn't have him on. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'll have you on. Let's go.
2 times.
Anytime.
I'll be on.
Whenever you want to come by, call me.
Joe Rogan, himself a former comedian, has borne the brunt of the industry when certain industry players made moves to get him canceled. Just like Monique and Katt Williams, Joe Rogan is known for not bowing to the establishment and has adopted an unrelenting attitude towards speaking the truth, or what he believes is the truth. Last year, a few people reported the popular podcaster to Spotify, claiming that his podcast should be removed because he used the N-word. In his response, Joe claimed that his detractors had taken some of his old clips out of context and joined them together to create a certain narrative. Their aim was to paint him in a bad light and get him booted off the Spotify platform. On one of his podcast episodes, the UFC ringside commentator said, "This is a political job. They're taking all this stuff that I've ever said that's wrong and smooshing it all together." He explained that he used the words not in a racist manner, as his critics and detractors are making it seem. According to him, he'd already apologized for some of the things that he said in the past, but the unforgiving mob who don't like his politics and way of thinking are still out for blood. The podcaster then had some words of advice for those who were trying to blacklist him. It's not productive. Like, if you're spending all your time trying to attack a person versus trying to better yourself, you're not going to do as well. You're wasting time. That's why they're not successful. It's like it's literally poison for yourself, he said. Curiously, that wasn't the first time certain disgruntled individuals tried to cancel Joe Rogan. In the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, some doctors accused the UFC color commentator of misinforming the public. Armed with that info, many of his detractors petitioned Spotify to kick him off the platform, but the company stuck with their most listened to podcaster. So though this episode isn't about Joe Rogan, I added it for context to give you an idea of how he, Katt Williams, and Monique have suffered for speaking their minds in the entertainment industry. Now, given how people have called for Rogan's head, it's understandable he would support Monique Hicks for the troubles she's experiencing in the entertainment industry. Just like Joe Rogan, Monique got blackballed when she decided to speak up against the low pay and the mistreatment of black artists in Hollywood. Not only did she get blackballed, but the actress and comedian got lowballed on deals that she got with TV networks and streaming platforms. Monique's woes started when she took the bull by the horns and chastised Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels for blacklisting her. According to the comedian, Tyler Perry wanted her to do a media tour to promote the 2009 movie Precious, a movie for which Monique won Best Supporting Actress. However, Monique refused, insisting that she wanted some time off to spend with her family since she'd been away for too long. Even if she agreed to do the promo tour, the executive producers would have to pay for her wardrobe, makeup, hair, and transportation. Monique explained that she had sacrificed enough to take a measly $50,000 for the role, so asking her to sacrifice her resources to promote the movie would put pressure on her finances. According to Monique, Tyler Perry agreed with her, shook her hands, and said he understood her position. She claimed that later, the Medea actor called up Lee Daniels to complain about her. He then labeled her difficult to work with, and eventually, Hollywood producers, directors, and casting agents started to avoid her like the plague. She later claimed in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that the director of Precious, Lee Daniels, called her to tell her she was blacklisted. When she asked what the reason was, the director told her her husband was asking for too much. "I got a phone call from Lee Daniels maybe 6 or 7 months ago, and he said to me, 'Monique, you've been blackballed.' And I said, 'I've been blackballed? Why have I been blackballed?' And he said, 'Because you didn't play the game.' And I said, 'Well, what game is is that?" And he gave me no response. The next thing he said to me was, "Your husband is outbidding you." But he never asked me what salary we were asking for. You know, my husband, actor and producer Sidney Hicks, and I had to change things so we wouldn't have to depend on others. So we do it independently. She continued that the industry was full of people who wanted to take advantage of others. And if you stood your ground, you were labeled as tacky, a label that she bore countless times. She explained that whoever has labeled her difficult may have tried to take advantage of her, but she stood her ground. Whoever those people are who say Monique is difficult, those people are either heartless, ruthless, or treat people like they're worthless. And that's unacceptable. They're set to say Monique is tactless, she's tacky. She relayed the information to Oprah, who also agreed with her sentiments. But just like Tyler, the TV talk show host did nothing to alleviate Monique's plight. Therefore, Monique called out Oprah publicly for her alleged double standards, questioning why Oprah wouldn't publicly back her. However, one of her major problems with Oprah stemmed from the fact that the talk show host interviewed Monique's family without her consent. According to Monique, Oprah initially called her to tell her that her brother wanted to come on to her show to apologize to her for what he did. "Your brother wants to come on the show, and he wants to apologize to you for MU," Oprah reportedly said, "and he wants to tell other people how to look out for predators," she concluded. Monique was hesitant, explaining that this was a brother who SA'd her as a child, so she didn't want anything to do with him. Nevertheless, Monique gave the green light for the interview that maybe her brother had changed for the better, only to realize that Oprah had invited other members of her family, including her mother. According to Monique, she felt betrayed by Oprah's gesture, as she promised that it was only her brother who was coming on the show. Monique quipped, "You betrayed me, sister," Monique said. Had Oprah Winfrey said, "I'm going to have your mama on the show," I would have said, "Shut that idea down." She claimed that her family once reached out to Barbara Walters to appear on her talk show, but she refused to have them because she couldn't do that to her friend. According to Barbara Walters, Monique had just won the award for Best Supporting Actress and was enjoying her moment in the spotlight. Thus, she didn't think it was wise to bring her family to dig up the past. It might take the shine and attention from Monique's first ever Oscars. However, that wasn't the only issue the comedian had with Oprah. Monique has also blamed the talk show host for stealing movie roles that were meant for her. According to the comedian, the director of The Butler, Lee Daniels, once called her up and told her that he wanted her to play Gloria Gaines, but Oprah Winfrey had taken it. According to Lee Daniels, he had no money at the time and insinuated that Oprah flexed her financial muscles and industry connections to wrestle the role from her. She said that the same thing happened when she was offered a role in a Richard Pryor biopic. Monique alleged that Oprah again called the director of the movie and insisted on having the role. Consequently, she got the role, and Monique went home empty-handed. Soon, Monique noticed that this became a pattern, like an intentional effort to kick her out of the movie industry. Speaking to Shannon Sharp during her recent appearance on the club Shay Shay, Monique quipped, "How does a black woman win when you say, 'Here he is right here'? And I look to the community and say, how long do we allow us to keep being exploited, used up, taken advantage of because we think somebody can give us an opportunity? If we keep operating like that, Shannon, you're going to have a whole lot of us sitting right here in this same seat, almost telling the same story." Monique complained that she'd tried several times to talk to Oprah privately about the issues, but the business mogul had refused to oblige her. "I tried to talk to you privately, but then you became the great mighty Oprah Winfrey, and you were too busy to talk. Well, now I'm going to talk about it." The comedian said she had always loved Oprah and looked up to her as her role model. She was a successful black woman worth emulating, but when she got closer to her, it was all smoke and mirrors. She stated that she'd only forgive Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey if they become accountable. She wondered why they hadn't apologized, since it was clear that they had hurt her person, her family, and her career. Monique also quipped that Tyler Perry labeling her difficult to work with has caused her many opportunities, so the Medea actor owed her millions of dollars. So, you see why Joe Rogan might support Monique's cause? Because he himself has been a victim of people spreading bad news about him. Curiously, Monique's fight hasn't been against individuals alone, but against establishments that have attempted to lowball her. Chief among them is Netflix. In 2017, the comedian took issues with the streaming platform for proposing to pay her $500,000 for a comedy special. Of course, that's big money, but when Monique compared it to the tens of millions others were taking, she rejected the offer and called out Netflix for discrimination, forcing the streaming giant to walk away from the negotiations. But Monique wouldn't stop. A few days later, she sued Netflix for gender and race discrimination, blaming the company for not going beyond its initial offer. In her suit, the comedian accused Netflix of lowballing black women, arguing that men like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, and Amy Schumer were getting more money. The suit claimed that Schumer used the contracts of the other comedians to negotiate a better payout for herself. The suit read, "The offer made to Monique was merely an opening offer from which there was an expectation, both by Netflix and Monique, of continued negotiations likely leading to increased compensation being offered to Monique. Once Monique engaged in protected conduct by protesting the discriminatory offer, Netflix shut down any further negotiations and refused to negotiate in good faith consistent with its standard practices." The Grammy Award-winning actress then called for a boycott of Netflix. She explained that her stand wasn't only for herself, but also for future Black female comedians. Monique posited that she wanted them to be able to take a stand and demand better remuneration, as she had done. "I couldn't accept that low offer because if I did, I couldn't sleep at night. If I accepted $500,000, what does Tiffany Haddish have coming? If I accept that, what does the Black female comedian have coming? Because what they'll say is, Monique accepted this and she's got that. So what do they have coming?" Netflix denied Monique's allegations and claimed that they were all about inclusion, equity, and diversity. They explained that their initial offer to Monique was fair based upon certain calculations and factors they considered. They also believed that they paid each comedian on their network based on certain parameters that weren't the same for everyone. So they promised to fight the lawsuit in court and hope to get a fair judgment. Many fans and celebrities called on Monique to shut up and take up Netflix's offer. They pointed out that the streaming entity wasn't bound to present the comedian with any offer she wanted. Some claimed that Monique was being difficult to work with, as allegedly described by Tyler Perry, and if she didn't change, she would find work difficult to come by. Others also tore into the 56-year-old for her entitlement mentality, explaining that the fact that comedian A received this amount didn't mean she should get the same. Prominent among those voices was radio host and TV personality Leonard McKelvey, also known as Charlemagne That God. Hosting Monique on his show The Breakfast Club, he said, "When I heard you say that you wanted us to boycott Netflix because of racial and gender bias, I wanted to know, why did you feel like you should have gotten whatever Chris Rock got, whatever Dave Chappelle got, whatever Amy Schumer got? We all know Monique is a legend, but we also know that those deals that Netflix are giving out are based on recent stand-up shows." Charlemagne also argued that Amy Schumer had sold out about 50 arenas around the world, including Madison Square Gardens. Moreover, HBO also wanted Schumer to do a special for them, which conflicted with Netflix's demands, thus creating a bidding war between the two giants. Consequently, the bidding war went in favor of Schumer as both companies upped their offers just to get her on their platform. Monique also countered by comparing her box office stats to Amy Schumer's, arguing that movies that she starred in have performed better. However, Charlemagne wouldn't back down, arguing that he didn't understand how Monique should be paid $13 million when there was no bidding war between two platforms, or she hadn't booked or even sold out any arena. Monique explained that she wasn't able to book any arena because of the blackball she was experiencing in the industry. Many described her with lots of names, including ungrateful, ungracious, and narcissistic. However, Monique wouldn't budge because she knew she was about, and despite the immense pressure to withdraw the lawsuit, she kept going. Even at a time when her family needed the money, the 56-year-old didn't give in but pressed on. A few years after filing the lawsuit, Netflix finally gave in to Monique's demand and settled with the comedian for an undisclosed amount. Monique had finally won, and her fans were happy for her. Like Joe Rogan, she didn't let her detractors and critics decide what was best for her family and career. She knew her worth and insisted that she be paid exactly the amount. She had purportedly suffered pay and gender discrimination for long, and she knew that if she didn't take a stand, that evil would never end. Others who called out for being selfish and entitled felt shame, with a few of them apologizing to her, including Charlemagne. In the words of Charlemagne, "Monique, you were right. I had no business speaking on your business. There is absolutely a paid discrepancy for Black women. Black women are typically paid only 60 cents for every dollar paid to white men, and the wage gap actually widens the 65 cents on the dollar for every Black woman who holds doctorate degrees compared to white men with the same education." Charlemagne continued his apology, stating that if Netflix bent to Monique's demands, then it means that she was doing something right. "When you see a company as big as Netflix with all the money Netflix has, they're gonna drag this out. They settled with Monique and still put out a Monique comedy special." Fans of Monique were happy for her. They applauded her for pointing out all the evil in the industry and for standing up for what she believed was fair treatment. They thought that her example would be a shining light for other Black women in the entertainment industry. One elated fan noted, "Yes, everybody should stand up for their rights. If something's not right, you have to make a stand, or you will get pushed over in this country. Unfair practices are real in this country." Another fan also chimed in, "Of course, she is and was right to speak up, as should the whole body of our people. Stand up and fight against all the injustices set upon us past and present." This fan perfectly summed up Monique's achievements. As not so great as Monique had been acting in some situations, she was dead right on this one. and good for her for standing up and calling Netflix out. Now, hopefully, Black women and Black folks as a whole will not be lowballed as often or as quickly, because now there is precedence. Bravo, Mo. Interestingly, other Black women followed suit and started standing up for better treatment and pay in the entertainment industry. One of them is renowned actress Taraji P. Henson. Recently, the actress broke down in tears over being lowballed constantly despite her achievements in Hollywood. In an interview with a foundation, the actress admitted that she almost walked away from the set of The Color Purple due to a huge pay disparity among the talents. Unlike Monique, Taraji didn't leak the money she was offered to the media. However, she expressed her exasperation at the treatment of Black women in Hollywood. She claimed that she hadn't received a pay raise in 5 years since she starred in the 2018 movie Proud Mary. "I'm getting really tired of Black women having the same story. It's breaking my heart. It's like every time you achieve something really incredible, it's almost like the industry looks at it like a fluke," the actress admitted. The highlight of the whole pay disparity brouhaha was when Taraji broke down in tears at the studios of SiriusXM in the presence of Oprah's friend Gayle King and other guests on the show. The actress wept because she'd worked so hard to get where she is, but it appears her efforts aren't recognized when it comes to making money. She explained that she's got bills to pay and members of her staff waiting on her to get their salaries. Thus, by the time she's done fulfilling all those obligations, the money in her bank account is nothing to write home about. "I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost," said Taraji with tears in her eyes. "I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, 'You work a lot.' I have to. The math ain't mathing. And you start working a lot. You have a team. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. It's a whole team behind us. They have to get paid." She explained that when she gets paid, say $10 million, about $5 million goes into taxes, then $1.5 million goes into paying her staff, leaving her with $3.5 million. Out of the money, she's got other issues to take care of that can take a significant portion. So at the end, she's left with almost nothing. She decried that whenever she sat to negotiate with producers, they treated her as if she was now starting out, and thus they started from the bottom. Taraji's words struck a chord in fellow Black actress Gabrielle Union, who took to social media to express her support for Taraji. Sharing a clip of Taraji's interview at SiriusXM, she wrote, "Not a damn lie told. Not a damn lie. We go to bat for the next generation and heck even our own generation and above. We don't hesitate to be the change that we all need to see, and it takes a toll on your mind, health, soul, and career if we're keeping it 100. Black comedian and actress Robin Thede also echoed Gabrielle Union's sentiments when she wrote on Instagram, "Y'all expect celebrities to give you all the glam and talent and smile when they're being horribly undervalued. And it's not as simple as start a business. They have. Taraji has several, or get better reps. The problem is systemic, and studios won't pay us what they pay non-Black actors, regardless of reps." Please just try to hear what Taraji is saying. Her tears are real and deep, and she is the best of us. Imagine what it's like for the rest. To make matters worse, Taraji also complained about how the female Black actresses were treated on the set of The Color Purple. First, she complained about the rental cars that they were given. According to her, she couldn't drive herself to the set and back to their hotels because of the danger involved in using a rental car. She feared that she would have to bear the consequences if the car got stolen or scratched. So rather, she pleaded for a driver and security to accompany her to and from the set. The producers then responded, claiming that if they acceded to her request, then they would have to do it for everyone, to which she retorted, "Then do it for everyone." She told the interviewer that she even had to fight the producers of Empire about bug-infested trailers. It looked as if their hard work wasn't being recognized, regardless of their status. Danielle Brooks, who also starred in the movie, recounted how Taraji P. Henson had to fight the producers to treat them better. According to her, when they first got on set, there were limited changing rooms, a situation that some of them found uncomfortable. However, it took Taraji to ask the producers to get the female cast separate changing rooms. Also, the cast members had no food to eat, another situation that required the intervention of Taraji before it was rectified. Though fans were happy that their idol Taraji was able to stand up and speak out for her rights and privileges, they feared that she could suffer the same fate as Monique or Joe Rogan. They feared that she could get canceled by the powers that be for calling out producers who lowballed Black actresses. grievances. Curiously, one of the producers of The Color Purple was Oprah Winfrey, the very same person whom Monique accused of blackballing her. What made Taraji's case more interesting was that Oprah was directly responsible for the welfare of the cast of The Color Purple. Thus, when she came public with all the ill treatment on the set, many people started pointing fingers at the celebrated talk show host, forcing Oprah to issue a statement. According to Oprah, she championed the concern of all the cast members on the set and made sure everyone was okay. However, fans felt that she shouldn't have waited for the cast to complain before rectifying the situation. She should have ensured that everything was right from the get-go before shooting began. So, fans concluded that Monique wasn't crazy after all, that she was right about the industry all along. They appeared grateful that celebrities like Joe Rogan could finally see the rot industry and are allegedly willing to give Monique a bigger platform to air her grievances. And this brings us to the end of today's video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.